Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to tell you that we have another art class coming with Brooke Stevens. This time we will be using essential oils, and she is going to help us through this great sensory experience. So there will be aromas with these oils, and we will be combining them with painting. So we really want you to come. There is a discount if you sign up before September 1st. The course is usually $45, but we will reduce it to $35 if you sign up before September 1. So sign up for this course. It is small. There's only 10 slots available. So please sign up. We had so much fun at our last mindfulness class. We want you to come join us. It will be a great time. September 10th is the date. Please sign up before September 1st to get your discount. We would love to see you there. Go to the edifygroup.com, or you can text us at 435-200-1812 and reserve your slot for this great Essential Oils Art September 10th of this year. Take care, and we hope to see you there. This is Hungry for Healing. Real people, real pain, real peace. I'm Becky Wengreen, a marriage and family therapist, sharing stories that nourish, edify, and heal, reminding us that even in heavy darkness, we can expect light to come. Hello and welcome again to another episode of Hungry for Healing. Today I have with me an author, Julie DeJesus is here.
Hi.
Hi. And I'm so happy to meet her. I love how this networking thing works, where I get to meet new people and find out their story. But she's going to talk to us about her story, which is about how compassion save lives.
Yeah.
I love that. So tell us about you, and then tell us about your book, and just let's go for it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Yes, I'm Julie DeJesus. I have 2 kids. I'm pregnant, actually, I have not had a baby in 10 plus years, and I'm pregnant. I'm really excited. I was just remarried about 1.5 years ago. So a lot of people know me as Julie Lee, but it's Julie DeJesus now, which is a pretty cool last name. I'm pretty lucky. And I'm pregnant with a baby girl that'll be coming in January.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. It's exciting. I threw up all over the kitchen this morning, like everywhere. The garbage, the floor, the sink, my friend's book, my cell phone. Hopefully she's not listening to this. But we're going to get there. It's temporary. It is. This is good for mental health too, right? Just this phrase of no feelings are permanent. It doesn't last forever. This has helped me in many a situation in my life. And it's helping me now. But yes, I primarily right now, and then I'll kind of take you back maybe to what led me here. I'm a keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and speak at conferences about the power of human connection in the workplace and how I help leaders really saturate their culture with human connection so their employees want to stay and they're happy to be at work.
I love
better employee retention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a big deal. And I love it so much. And especially with, so much going on with AI and just the way we grocery shop now, the way we check out, there's just so much less natural human connection that it really is having to become an intentional thing. So I really love doing that. But I never saw myself doing this. Maybe that's what most people say in their careers, right? My degree is in elementary education, totally different. I was a 2nd grade teacher for a few years. But I was in a work situation under some really toxic leadership. This lady, it was in a teaching situation. She would watch me teach and just glare at me from the back of the room, and she'd make me stay late hours and just was so condescending. If I befriended a student, she's like, they don't need a friend. The world's going to be hard on them. Just a really, really negative atmosphere. And as a young 20-something-year-old that was like, I'm going to change the world as a teacher. I'm going to save everyone, I became really deflated and discouraged. And I'm sure people will recognize this pattern that I've had a mental break of sorts before. At first, I just stopped being able to eat because I would throw it up because I started feeling so anxious. And then it got into, then I stopped sleeping. And things are not good when you don't sleep.
That's right. It's kind of important.
Yeah. I remember walking into the faculty bathroom stall on this day and just like grabbing the side rails and putting my hand over my face, shaking, crying uncontrollably and trying to keep vomit from coming out my throat. And At the time, I didn't understand what was happening to me. Now I know I was having my first panic attack. Being in a situation where I felt trapped, I didn't feel like I had options. Not to say that I didn't, but I didn't feel like I did.
Right.
Felt very stuck and trapped. And, it's interesting. I was put on a plane. There was a leader that really stepped in that I called. I was working out of state from my original home at the time, and I remember calling this leader, and I just her name's Carrie, and I just said, Carrie, I don't know what's going on. And I'm just bawling on the phone, and she just says, Julie, wait. And I'll never forget. She said, what happened to you out there? Like, she didn't even recognize me because I'd been such a confident teacher and been so just energetic and confident, came off very competent. And I think I was. She said, I want you to stop your position there. We're going to get you home. We're going to get you on a plane. We're going to get you home, and we're going to have you start again at a new school. So I did that. I came home to like where my family lived and stuff. And that first day back in the classroom, I was just helping out. I wasn't even teaching the whole class at this point. That first day back, they just said, you don't even need to help. You can just be in the classroom today. Just be back in the environment. And I sat at they have those, they call them guided reading tables or kidney tables. It looks like a kidney being in the back. You probably know them.
Yeah.
And I remember I just sat at the back of one of those, and I didn't even make it 2 hours before I walked up to the teacher there, and I just said, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'll never teach again.
Just so triggering.
So triggering. And I walked out the doors, and I had to do something that is truly a rock bottom moment, which was to call my mom to pick me up from an elementary school. When I was a little bit in my 20s. Yeah, it was fun. I was like, this is it. This is the bottom right here. But it was wild. I was staying at my sister's house, my sweet sister that just really tried to nurse me back to health in a way. And she had 5 kids, and I was sleeping on this nasty couch downstairs with, because she has 5 kids. So you can imagine the kinds of things that are dried on that couch. And I remember just pulling a blanket over my head and just laying there that day after coming home and just thinking, like, I'll never come out from this blanket. Like, no one can get me out from this blanket. I'm gonna live and die here, And my phone buzzed a few hours later, and I went and I listened to the voicemail. I didn't pick it up, and it was this leader that had said, we're going to get you on the plane. We're going to get back. And she said, hey, I got a phone call. I heard what happened today at work. She said, I want you to go again tomorrow. She said, we're going to do this 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time if we have to. We're going to get you back. You're going to be okay. And I said no one could get me out from under the blanket, but she saw me, right? She leveled with me. I know where you're at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We could do this a minute at a time. I mean, that's someone who knows you're low. Like, give me 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw me. And as much as I said I wouldn't get out from under the blanket, the next morning found myself in front of the mirror and crying off my mascara as I'm putting it on. I'm like, well, my mental health is a disaster, but at least, look pretty. So, I went ahead and I put on my makeup, and I went, and I actually never did come home early from that position again. Because, and this is what I really talk about, is that when you see me, I want to follow you. That's just it, right? No one was getting at me out from that blanket, but when you feel seen, all of a sudden you want to follow, you're motivated to, because someone else is investing in you. I remember the first time she came to observe me at work to do like an official observation as I was teaching, and afterwards we sat and she had this like colored rubric of scores of how I'd done in certain categories. And I just remember her flipping over the paper and pushing it across the desk and just saying, you can look at that later. How are you doing? And again, just like this humanity and a leader, such a contrast from what I just experienced. And I was able to go on and teach, which was really not something I expected would ever happen again.
Because you would have totally just walked away in trauma and never.
Yep. That's not my path anymore. I guess I'm just done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but for someone to give me that low of an expectation of, we're going to go back and we're going to do a day, an hour, a minute at a time if we have to. Like, what a thing to say when someone feels, when they lack the confidence to tie their own shoes or to take a shower, because it just feels so hard. And And, unfortunately or fortunately, there's a club of us that know what that feels like, to that level of clinical anxiety or depression. And man, those people that step in and see you are life-saving, and it's life-changing. So, that really led me to, and some other experiences. I continued to struggle with my mental health at different points. That kind of started familiarity with that I was able to have a panic attack and the anxiety, and I was able to get on some great medication, do some great therapy for a while, but I would always want to get off my meds, right? Such a common story. You've heard it, I'm sure, just like, I'm feeling better now, I want to be reliant on something, right? Like, we've heard the story so many times, and I followed suit. And I remember I had 2 kids at this point, so I guess I'm really jumping forward, but the last time I really, really made an effort to get off medication, and I just remember sitting there staring at my little boy who was 2, and I'm having really self-destructive thoughts. But I'm talking to him in this sweet, almost sing-songy voice. And I just had this cognitive dissonance come over me of, if I'm teaching him that the world is like this and that there's hope and all that, but I'm saying these things to myself, like, I couldn't live with that. And I just really realized I may need to be on medication for the rest of my life, and that would be totally okay. It would be, and that's not the answer for everyone, but I'm always happy to be able to, and more in private conversations after speeches and things, to talk about people that feel shame taking medication, because I have been there.
Yeah.
I have been there, and I am someone that would have told you there's no shame in taking medication, but it's different when it's you. So much impacts that, how you were taught growing up, so many things. And I just think we don't want to need help for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I'm getting better at, it's really great to get help
Well,
in all the ways.
Right. And then there's a reason medication exists.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no badge of honor for doing it alone. There's really not. There's no badge of honor for doing it without.
And our chemistry is not always totally controlled by us.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And so if there can be something that improves you, which improves your life, which improves your relationship, your family, your environment, all of that.
Yes.
Why fight that?
That's the question, right? I think most of us do, though.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's an interesting question. I know for me, when I was in a low place, the thought that was there that I would say to, like, a therapist was, what if this is the real me? What if this, like, depressed, anxious, like, this is the real me? And I was just like, the medication makes me believe something that's not real, which is really interesting, because once I was on a good medication, I was like, oh, this is the real me. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, this has always been me. I remember this. The other was something completely different. Yeah. That felt very outside of me. Yeah. Once those chemicals were balanced. Yeah. Not that I didn't still need to learn the tools, but all of a sudden I could implement the tools in a way I'd never been able to. Right. Because you had the needed chemistry in your head and your body. Yes. To give you that ability. Yes. And really, that's what's interesting, I think, with pretty severe anxiety and depression, PTSD, these different mental health issues, is it can feel like it hinders your ability to make choices, and that's hard. And so I think when you're feeling that, at least in my experience, when it's a hindrance to use your agency, that's really when I think, medication can be really helpful, because all of a sudden it's not like it makes life easy, but all of a sudden I felt like my agency was back. It felt, you always have agency, but there is a difference when your chemicals aren't right. How challenging tasks are. It's just different. Yeah. It gives you that semblance of control, right? That, no, I can do this. Yeah. I can choose to do that. I can choose to do this. Yeah. This isn't an earth-shattering thing. This is, I can handle this. Yeah. So there's a lot of hope in that. Yeah. There definitely is. Yeah. Yeah. So, and you asked a little bit about my book. I started a podcast back in, I think, 2018 called ICU. And there's still new episodes out this year. And that led to the book contract that turned into the book ICU, which It's been fun to take to events, and it's been so cool to connect with people all over the world about ICU. There's an ICU cuff that can be purchased with it that my publisher put out as well, and it was so neat. Like, do you remember the Michigan church fire?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I had a group of people come and they bought an ICU silver cuff for everybody out in Michigan and sent them all to them. Just a good way. That's probably been the coolest part that I didn't expect when I wrote the book and the cuff, and even doing the podcasting is I've been able to then witness people like the best of humanity, because people will often use it as, I want to make someone else feel seen, and they sometimes will let me in on a story, and it's just like there's so many good people out there. There's so many good people. Hey, I need a book and a cuff because, my neighbor's husband just died and I don't know they're seen, or I need, these things. And so it's really cool to witness people using their agency to just make the world a little better,
to pull them in rather than keep them away.
Yeah. Or, I talk about this a lot in my book. I think there's so many reasons we often don't say anything when someone's hurting or do anything. I think there can be the judgment, there can be our own insecurities, I think, is a big one. Like, I'm not the right person, or I don't know what to say. Just our own uncomfortable feelings. It's can be uncomfortable and vulnerable to approach someone that's not okay. That's not just going to say I'm okay. But man, having been that person before, and I'm sure so many of your listeners have also been that person before, like those people that boldly just jumped in and were just like, hey, I got you. You can cry. Like, changed everything.
Yeah. Just creating that safety.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, just not making it unspeakable. Or I think, depression specifically is a demanding mistress. It wants you alone, away from other people. Like, it's where you're not bouncing your thoughts off other people to kind of check in of like, but it's just there, just alone with you. And so I think isolation is a very common thing that comes with that. And when you can kind of breach that and allow other people in, even when you're still like in the struggle, I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Not just waiting until it's over. Obviously it's case by case, right? There's situational depression. I'm not going to speak to everyone, but for me, I guess I can say opening up about it and being real with people was such a lifeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that there are certain things that help others feel seen?
Oh, yeah.
What would you suggest?
Some of them, sometimes when I teach these to leaders in these high positions, I'm like, this almost feels laughable because it feels so simple. But like you and I, we've kind of touched on these days, like does need to be more intentional. People need it so much.
Yeah.
Really, I'm going to just throw some really simple, use people's first name when you talk to them. There's, it's like you can watch brain scans of what happens when you use someone's first name. It just lights up like a Christmas tree. Like, same for kids, right? We learn that as teachers. Little kids like to call them by their first name because we love to hear our first name. When you call me, you say thank you or you say thank you, Julie, completely different. Like, I'm like, thanks. Like, I like to be noticed. I like to know that I'm real. And so using people's first name, I think gratitude, I would say gratitude begets momentum. Like, just sharing with people what you're grateful for about them. There was this teacher. Can I share a little story?
Absolutely.
There was this teacher that was gifted my book, ICU, and a cuff by a stranger anonymously. And she emailed me and was like, hey, I received this book and I didn't know you were. And there was some sort of inscription, like she was a teacher and they said, I read this book and I thought of you because I think you're such a great example, making sure all your kids in your classes feel seen. She's a high school English teacher, I believe. And I share this with her permission. So she read the book and she's like, okay, I'm going to do a better job. And I'm going to make someone feel seen that maybe is feeling like they're slipping in between the cracks. And teachers, I think, will understand this. Often it's the kids, it's like the super high achievers and kind of the troublemakers that you usually know really well. And then there's this class of kids in the middle that are just really easy to forget because they just do what they're told. They're just good. They just don't make a fuss. They don't need a lot. And unfortunately, those kids can honestly feel forgotten a lot of the time. And so she thought of a kid like that. She's like, he just always does his work. He never talks, but he just does his work. He sets a good example. So she wrote him a card thanking him for just the example he set for, always helping clean up, things like that. This is a high school boy. And she leaves the card on his desk. And the next day she comes in the class. She writes me this all in the email. She comes in the class and she finds the note on the floor crumpled up. And so you can imagine how she's just like, what she said, it's like, stupid Julie Lee, it doesn't even work. Which I was like, that's you. I don't feel like that's quite my fault, but okay, I get it. But just like, why is a high school student gonna, what? And then she gets this email that she shared with me, and she blurred out his name. And it said something to the effect of this. It was like, hey, Miss Bradford, I got your note yesterday, and I'm really worried because I think I left it in the class. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to rewrite it for me, if possible, even just in the size of my phone case, so that I could just keep it with me everywhere, so it can just help me feel inspired. Is there any way you could do that for me? And you just don't know like how much it impacts people, right?
Yeah.
To share that gratitude and just, again, it's just another touch point of saying, I see you, of like, hey, you make an impact. Right? Can I share one more?
Absolutely. Yes.
Another big one, I think, and this is this is probably the most like controversial when I talk to leaders about this, where they're like, at first. And it's this idea that I really go through 3 pillars in my speech. I see you, I appreciate you. So I've kind of shared both of those, and then I trust you. And with I trust you, I was telling giving and receiving builds trust. What I mean by that is, quick story. When I remember once I had a speaking engagement, and my neighbor watched my 2 young children for me while I was gone. And I came home to pick up the kids, and I'm sitting there, and I think I'm tying my little boy's shoes. So I'm kind of sitting on the ground, and I'm looking up at her, and I said, hey, I would love to repay the favor sometime. Like, if you just want like an afternoon off or something, I'd love to take your, it's not a tit for tat thing, just hey, I'd love to do the same for you. And this is what she said to me. I want you to tell me how you'd feel if you're me. I'm like down in the lower position. She said, well, I couldn't ask you to do that. I wouldn't want to be a burden. So what are you thinking?
Well, the first thing was like, wait, I just offered. You're not a burden.
Right. Like take me at my word.
Yeah. I'm open to this. Let it be reciprocal. Let me repay, but let's support each other.
Let me in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and for me, it was like, so I was a burden to you. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So right? I must have been a burden to you.
If you see this, if you see other people helping you,
as a burden,
you're becoming a burden. Like, and that's why I always ask my audience, I'm like, do you think I ever asked that woman for help ever again? No, never.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, I didn't trust that she would say yes and mean it and not resent or things like that. And so I think it's so important with trust. We're really good often at giving. I don't think I need to speak to that too much. We're often really, especially think about in the leadership realm, man, just acting like we have it all together, making sure people have what they need, but being willing to receive from your people and let them in builds a whole other level of trust.
Yes.
Of just humanity, of we're all people and we can help each other. And all of a sudden you have more ability for innovative ideas and different things because we are in an atmosphere where it's okay to need help. So therefore we're going to be willing to take more risks and try new things, and it's always going to lead to greater success in the end. So those are kind of the big ones for me.
Sometimes in the mental health world, the people pleasers are really, really resistant to receive.
Yeah.
They just want to please.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, they've been conditioned that that's where their value is.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad used to quote this movie. It's one of my favorite movies, Ben-Hur. It's old.
I used to watch that all the time.
I love Ben-Hur.
It's all that and the 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
that's all I was allowed to watch on Sunday. So I've seen Ben-Hur so many times.
Ben-Hur gets he's given Roman citizenship. Eventually he gets Roman citizenship. But at the beginning, they accuse him of an attack on the governor, right? And so, but then he saves the life of somebody. Anyway, in this court, when the Roman sea captain, her saves his life. And so this captain goes to advocate for him, and the Roman emperor or something says, allow us to continue, allow us to be generous. And my dad used to say all the time, allow me to be generous, because I get something for being generous to you. I remember being taken back by that, like, yeah, I need to allow this because it's a blessing for other people to give.
Yes. Yes.
It's a blessing to them to be generous.
Yes.
Allow it, receive it.
And I don't know how people feel about this, but I even think it's really important to take people at their word and not train people to treat me as if I need to read their mind. I just think it's a really exhausting way to live. And it's hard because there's probably times someone's offered help and maybe they didn't totally mean it or didn't want to. And I was like, great, that'd be great. But I know that when I say something, I that is my word. And if I didn't mean it, that's on me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so tiring living, trying to
Read between the lines.
Yes.
Well, it's in the Four Agreements. I don't know if you've read that book.
I've heard a lot about, I think
The
I've
Four
had seen
Agreements.
snippets. Yeah.
One of them is be impeccable with your word, meaning you mean what you say what you mean.
Yeah.
And that is such a freeing principle.
Yes.
And if we could all, I mean, obviously there are times when we misspeak in a time when our emotions get the better of us, but
right.
And we should be able to, to negotiate that too. I misspoke, or I'm sorry.
Right.
But when it comes to when you're calm, when you're trying, be impeccable, be intentional and impeccable with your words. So when you offer something, you do it with no expectations. You do it so that you're giving, and then you let go.
Yeah.
There's no strings attached there. And that can be a really freeing thing. I give because I want to give.
Yeah.
End of story.
I want to be the type of person that gives right now.
I just want to do that.
Right.
And I'm not going to expect anything back. And there are some relationships that they must be reciprocal to be healthy. But again, it always boils down to, it's your choice to give.
Yep.
You get to intentionally choose that. And what would life be like if everyone did that?
I would overthink so much less. Right? Like that's it's been so good for my mental health to take people at their word and to
let them be responsible.
If I can tell they don't mean it, obviously, then I wouldn't, but it's usually not that obvious. I mean, I didn't know with that girl. I thought she was happy to take my kids. Like, it was no big deal. Like, they were just going to play together. It was great. And then when she said that, I took her at her word again. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of gives me a view into how you see this relationship. And I wasn't angry. I was just like, I do not want to ask for help from you,
because now I'm a burden.
Yeah. And you won't. Again, I understand we don't need to be tit for tat. I love being able to give with no expectations, but it's so common, unfortunately, I think, for people to be willing to give and not receive. And it's really detrimental to our relationships. I think. To be honest, I just don't super trust people like that. Not that I don't love them, but I don't trust them. I'm not going to call them when I need a ride from the airport spontaneously. Like, I'm going to call the person that, has cried to me and is, has been open with me, and we've had good times and bad, but we stick by each other. Like, that's who I'm going to call at 2 in the morning.
Sounds like somebody who's real.
Yeah.
Who shows up real for you.
Yeah. And is aware that they have weaknesses and that I have weaknesses, and that's all part of it. And it's great.
Human, real, grounded. Yeah. So, very good lessons. Anything else in that book that you want to relate?
Well, there's a lot of pages. So I did think I might share. This isn't in the book, but
let's hear it.
My sister I dedicated this book to my sister, who was dying from breast cancer at the time when this was published. I always love to share about her because I think she really gave me a gift that has stuck with me, and been something that I know has been a benefit to people around the world that I've spoken to, and it's her words, not mine. When she told me, so my sister had 5 kids, and I just had my second baby. She was 2 weeks old or whatever. And my sister came to visit her for the first time, and I remember she was sitting in the nursery and she's holding my brand new baby and talking about how fat and cute she was. And she was so cute and fat. And her kids had left the room and she said, "Hey, I have something I need to tell you. Found a lump in my breast and they don't know what it's going to be yet, but you know, and we all know because I already told you what it's going to be, right? But this is before she knew. She said, there's, we've done some scans and there's about 3 options left of what it could be. And one of those is breast cancer." And she said, "Julie, there's no way it's cancer, right?" And I said, "Amy, totally. There's no way. You're only 31. She was 31 at the time. And she's like, "Okay." And I remember, I'll never forget, she said, "But what if it is cancer?" She said, "I have 5 little people watching me all the time, her little kids." And she said, "There's something else I need to tell you. When they went to do the MRI, they have to do an obligatory pregnancy test, and I'm pregnant." And she said they'd wanted to have like 8 kids. This is the sister I stayed with, right? On the girls' couch with the like kids. After 4, it's like a billion to me. I grew up in a family of 7. After 4, it's a billion. And, but she said, "I'm pregnant." She said, "I can't, whatever I do, I've seen things like cancer make people hard, and I've seen it make them soft. Whatever this is, I can't let it make me harder. I have to let it make me softer." And that lesson, man, like she lived that out. She had the baby. She did chemo with the baby in utero, radiation as soon as he was out. She had a double mastectomy, I think, during the 2nd trimester. No, one side mastectomy, the second one after, to mitigate as much surgery as possible while pregnant. And this is like a situation that doesn't happen super often, right? And then 8 or 9 months after all the radiation and stuff, came back in her liver. And that's when it was, liver is bad news. That means it's spread. And she did everything right. Like she did all the things. Breast cancer in general is pretty curable as cancers go. And she was really young and she was still going to die. And I watched her stay soft. Doesn't mean she didn't have bad moments. But in general, it's like, she'd like go to the pharmacist and she like had like a nickname. She called him her drug dealer and they had like this funny little repertoire. And, I take her to chemo and the nurse there, as she's accessing her port, she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, how was that weekend with your boyfriend? Like, has he given you a ring yet? Like, I need to know everything." She just made it about other people. And it wasn't, and she was at the same time, she was receiving a lot of help from people too. And she was receiving so gracefully, but she was doing what she could to make others feel seen. She knew she wasn't the only person in the world that needed to feel seen and to receive. And watching her stay soft was one of the greatest honors of my life to be near. Literally the last words she said to me, she was pretty out of it and didn't usually know who she was with at this point. The last words I ever heard her speak or say to me, I was getting up to leave and we would take shifts with her when she's on hospice. And she had her eyes shut. I knew we were getting close. We were told she'd probably slip into a coma and then go after a couple days. And I just remember I start getting up to leave and she grabs my hand, not soft, but really hard. And she just squeezes it. And this last 2 words she ever said me, "So, so grateful." And I don't even know she knew it was me. I don't know how all that works, but it's like, she went somewhere I can't follow, right? You say, when you see me, I want to follow you. And that's what I did as a little kid. That's who I lived with when I had my mental breakdown. And her going somewhere I could no longer follow was just, devastating, just doesn't come close. And it still is. It's one of those things that loss, I'm sure you're a therapist. I'm sure you talk to people all the time with loss.
Oh yeah. Grief.
Grief is so, you learn to carry it with you. I can fall apart about this any moment. Still, it's been, what is it, 26? It's been 4 years in September. And, I can listen to music and go on a walk and just, it's like, it's all fresh again. How much I miss my sister, my best friend. And yet, that is the gift. A gift she left was that lesson of you can't stay soft towards others, whether it be a pandemic, whether it be through divorce, through so many things. You do have the choice to stay soft or harder, which is why I love to speak to soft skills so much. There's this amazing quote I love. Say soft skills doesn't make hard work easier. It makes you a more pleasant person doing hard work. And that's what I love. And that's what was life-saving to me in both the work situation and in my personal life.
The deep grief to me is just an indicator of how deeply you loved that person.
Yes.
How much
Yes.
you miss.
You don't get to have one or the other.
Yeah, that person.
It was interesting. I was divorced that same year, which was a lot to be all happening at once. I remember talking to a therapist afterwards, and I was talking about how, how is it that this has felt like the right decision, but this still is just so hard, so painful. Just all the what ifs, the way you think your life is going to go, just the big change, the sharing the kids, like it's just ripping the kid stuff, just ripping my mom apart. Yes. And he said a lot like what you just said. He's talked about this formula of 2 + 3 = 5. And he's like, that is a perfect formula, right? 2 + 3 = 5. It's balanced. That is what it is. And this idea of there's all these factors that lead to 2 and all these factors that lead to 3, you got married with these expectations. This happened, all these pieces along the way that have happened to lead you here. And you just talked about this idea of like having this be devastating is perfect in this equation for how hard you tried and for how committed you were. And so while I know it hurts, it's actually perfect in a different way. This is the feeling that makes sense that you would have,
Yeah.
And that is a good thing for me to come back to. Like, yeah. But there are moments when I wish I didn't love so hard. You feel like my kids, right? The heart walking outside of your body when they struggle or things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, can I just care a little less?
Right, because caring hurts.
Caring hurts.
It means you're vulnerable and open to being disappointed.
Yeah.
And to, and
it's really giving up a lot, I think.
Yeah. It's a risk.
Yep.
It's a risk.
Yep.
And you will not love deeply without risk.
Yep. So true.
You just can't. And so you can chain up. You can, put that heart in a steel cage.
Right.
And protect it.
Right.
But guess what? You're never gonna, without risk, you don't have growth. You don't have the depth. You have to risk. And the more you can risk in a hopefully educated way.
Yeah.
I've been divorced too, more than once. And the investment, the years, the youth, all of those things that go in.
Yeah.
You just don't want to lose that.
No, you don't.
And when you face that that's the outcome and that's imminent.
Yep.
That is deep, deep grief.
Yeah.
And you just have to get used to processing it until you don't. And then you've got kids and the ramifications of sharing, like you said, sharing the kids, trading the kids, the changing of the guardian, the missing Christmas, the missing this and that.
Yeah. It's something
you didn't plan that in your future.
I don't know how you relate to that till you get through it. Like, I don't know how I would have been prepared for that. It's just like,
it's not fun.
No, it's so gut wrenching and hard. Yeah.
It is not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And it's good. While some people might think this sounds discouraging, I think it's so valuable to get exposure to other things in the world and just other people and all these different things, just because we're often surprised what other people have gone through and been able to be resilient through and be able to be happy after, because I think it makes us feel less alone of like, okay, life's not really fair for anyone. This is the human experience.
That's right. You signed up for this.
And if you say, and like, depending on what you believe, like I believe my husband gave this to me recently, so I got to give him credit. But he reminded me, like, this is the second act, not the third. Just this idea of like, this is the learning, this is the second act, and we believe there is a third act that is beyond this, that is life after death. And I have had a very few select special experience with my sister after she passed away that has confirmed that for me. Which is also such a gift.
Wow, that is a gift.
It doesn't make it better, but it's special.
Yeah.
Really special.
Reassuring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Reassuring on my beliefs and things. I just still wish she were here in a different way, But
Yeah.
I think that's okay that I wish that it's.
Well, of course, you long for her. You love her.
No.
That
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Again, it's 2 + 3 = 5.
Yeah.
It just is. And of course, I'm devastated. And also, I don't want to see her again.
Yeah.
Both of those can exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you talk about being soft, what are some examples that you give about being soft? Like
Harder. Yeah.
Even in the workplace, what does being soft look like?
It's a great question. I think it's really easy in the workplace to get pretty robotic, and people can become numbers. And I think that there is a balance of. Let me preface by saying I don't think I had a leader come up to me after a speech saying, like, well, you can't just not have expectations for people. I was like, oh, 100%. Like,
Right?
absolutely. You have to make money to put bread on the, like,
You bet.
that's okay. But I think Carrie was a great example when she said she still did my scoring rubric and she didn't give me a great score. She gave me an honest feedback when she came to watch me teach. But afterwards, she put the number one priority first, which was, you can look at this later, right? Like, there are expectations and I am here to help you learn and this is my job. How are you doing? But like always, this is number one. Like, how are you doing? This is outside of you and your identity, your performance right now. Like, you are a human being and you're not just a number. And a rubric does not tell the whole story.
And I care about you.
Yeah. And what's interesting is I find when you do that and you're able to also hold standards at the same time, I mean, that's it. Like, seeing people isn't not having expectations. I think it's making those expectations clear so that people have the ability and the tools to perform and to exceed your expectations, right? That's a great reminder of making people feel seen, is also giving them the tools to succeed, not having expectations that aren't spoken. Again, be clear, say what you mean.
Right.
But coupling it with that, you're a human being. And I watched my husband do this really beautifully. He's in a leadership position at work, and he had someone that he was working with have a tragedy. And I just watched how well I saw the text messages he was sending and his concern for them. And their situation was not easy on the business. They were needed and they needed to take time. But I watched his first instinct be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe if I was going through that, what do you need? And it was really beautiful to watch. And I think, I know people are a lot more likely, I mean, they'll be more loyal. They'll take less money for it even nowadays. Like, that emotional safety is so important to our generation. And I've worked under very different kinds of leaders. And I can tell you, like, I would take less money to work under someone that makes expectations clear and couples that with a whole lot of humanity, of just the personal touch of, I know your name, I care about you, I know you're a human outside of work, and I share gratitude with you, and I let you in a little. I let, in appropriate ways, right? But like, I let you help me, and I make this an environment where it's okay to succeed and to fail.
Yeah, it always boggles my mind. I have family members that have really horrible stories of work. And I just scratch my head thinking, why would they think that is productive long term, to not appreciate your employees and to think that you're doing them a favor by giving them a job? It's like,
Yeah.
really? Because isn't it,
Right.
And I just wonder how they believe that it's better to be hard-nosed and punitive and dismissive of employees rather than make it a wonderful place for them to be. That boggles my mind.
Do you think there's any tie to like generational reparenting too?
Absolutely.
So I was going to say, I think that's
I do see
a little more old school. And you can swing really far the other way. Like this leader who's talking to me and like have no expectations. And I also don't think that's seeing people. I don't think that's what's best.
No,
for people.
There's a balance.
There's a balance.
There's a balance. Yeah.
But it's easier maybe it feels easier to be extreme and not have to figure out the balance. I don't know. There's not as much nuance and critical thinking.
It's complex.
Yeah.
It's complex. And a lot of people think in either or instead of and. I can have expectations and be kind and loving to my employees. I can be generous and have rules.
And that we need to meet this deadline.
And deadlines. And it doesn't have to be this or this. You could combine the two.
Yeah. That's what happens. Yeah.
But it's harder.
It is. It is harder. I think it's temporarily harder.
Until you figure it
long
out.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easier long term retaining your employees, making people happy. But it's like the little consistency every day, right? It's the same thing. Like a lot of us know, like meditating every day would be great for me. Pondering, reading inspirational material, whatever it is, if you're a praying person, praying every day, we know it's good or that it's going to help us mentally, but it's the little consistencies daily that I think are often feel the hardest to us.
Yeah.
Right. But long term, it makes our life so much easier.
Yeah. It's like maybe we don't trust that such small things could make such a big difference.
I was just saying this. I was on the phone with my mom. I was just saying that. I said, I've started meditating again. And she's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I've done it 2 days straight. I just get in a habit of doing it. Like I've started as 2 days down. Like we're going. But I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I just remember when I did this before, it wasn't like immediate. It wasn't even always in the middle of it. But all of a sudden, I felt like my thoughts outside of meditation were a little bit slower. And I could sift through them a little easier. My brain just seemed to slow down a little in really positive ways. And so I just think I'm going to start meditating. But again, it's like, I don't know exactly why. I mean, I'm sure there's so much research behind how the brain works. Why sitting with peaceful music, come up with my hands up and trying to focus on my breath and come back to my breath when my thoughts go away and having compassion for that and all the things. I don't know why exactly.
Well, I think you hit on it earlier. It's intentional.
Yes. It's a great way to say it.
You have to work at it. Yes.
It's not laying in bed in the morning thinking about how I don't want to go to bed. It's not that kind of stuff.
Right. It's I am going to take control of this and do it on purpose and not just allow thoughts to come and go. And if I can train my brain that it can be intentional, then I can also filter what comes in and out. And I don't have to just allow my brain to take over.
See, we just need the therapist to explain that. That's what we needed. That's what we needed. And just, reactive versus proactive, right?
Yeah.
Like life doesn't just happen to me.
I take control of what I can control. And that is something you can control.
And I've even loved lately, I think the word control is fine, but for me, because I have seen how much control I try to have sometimes, especially over unfair things, I started using the word influence mentally.
Sure.
And I'm working on a book and that has been really important to me that how do I influence the situation? Because in general, and I do that for me because in general, I usually think the list of what I can control is much longer than it actually is. Right?
Yeah.
So then for me, I'm just like, I think we just call it influence because it helps me be a little less,
right.
Yeah.
A word I use a lot is power.
Blah, blah.
Where's your power? What's your part? Where's your power?
Yes.
Where do you have power? Where don't you have power? Just like being impeccable with your word. I can say what I mean what I say, but I can't control what they're saying and but I can hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And I can, in a kind way and say, this is what you told me.
Yeah.
So this is what I understood you to say.
Yeah.
Right. You can't control that. But you have power over your communication. You do have, it's rare. And some of us have been, and some of us will be a victim. Okay. But
Yes.
it is rare that you never have any power.
Yep.
It's finding where it is and how you can then use it, influence it, whatever word you want to use, take advantage of that.
And I thought again of that smart thing you said about and.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times and situations in my life where my options did become very limited by someone else's behavior.
Yes.
And I did have ability to make choices.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there are times when I have felt very controlled by someone else or something else. And there is truth there that, yep, all of a sudden things were limited outside of what I could do, what I would have liked to have chosen, but finding where I still have a choice. Like, I think you can acknowledge both. Like,
yeah,
sure, in this moment, I was a victim to this awful behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I decided to do about it.
Right.
Both can be true.
That's right.
I think that keeps you out of long-term victimhood, maybe.
Right. Because you do have some choices to make.
Yeah. And I'm going to take that with me wherever I go. It's like if I am a choice maker in whatever situation, I'm going to be able to look for things of what decision can I make right now.
Yeah.
And that feels empowering and gives confidence.
That's right.
I can handle life.
That's right. Awesome. Well, what else do you want to tell us today?
Well, I really love what I do, and I really love my ability to choose to share what I learned, and I've learned so much from other people. I remember early on when I was starting my podcast, I remember I was having some insecurities about it. I'm like, there's so many podcasts out there. There's like, why another? And she said, I recently wrote a book on confidence. And she said, are there a lot of books on confidence in the world? Yeah. And she's like, and does the world need one more? Yeah. Like, yep. And just this idea that like just putting out good is good. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity I have to share the lessons that people taught me in really challenging and good circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It feels right to share what has become truth to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel really lucky to do that. And lucky also that like just life's so cool. I get to have a baby and I get to speak, right? And I don't have to choose. I can do both of those things. Like life is just so full and neat that way.
That's wonderful. That gratitude's so beautiful and powerful too.
And I haven't always felt it, right? Like last week I was laying on the couch in the fetal position. And I was just like, people always tell you like, well, it's a good sign that I'm in my second trimester. And they're like, it's just such a good sign that the baby's healthy, the sicker you are. And I'm like, okay, well, I know plenty of women who have healthy babies and they don't get sick at all. So it's okay, but it's okay, right? Like it's okay to have those moments where you're just like, this is just, I cannot get off the couch and I cannot, and then no feelings are permanent. That's where we started, right? And then life gets so good and full and it's just, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah. But it's act 2, and I hope most people feel hope in some sort of act 3.
Yeah.
I think it makes act 2 feel a lot more meaningful.
As hard as this life is and as long as it feels, it is still temporary.
And how cool, like going back to choices, like we're not meant to feel happy all the time, but human connection, what we've been talking about really comes back to human connection. That's a choice we have through any experience. And you can feel peace and joy in really difficult times. I think that's often through human connection. I guess I'll share one last story.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
My sister I talked about, so at her funeral, I remember we were taking pictures after. And someone said, like, let's get the sisters together. And so it's me and 3 other sisters, and then one has passed away at this point. So it's me and my 2 sisters on either side of me, and we're standing in front of the casket, the burial site, and grief hits it, just whatever it feels like. And I just had this moment. I mean, I helped dress her body. I knew she was gone. Like I was aware. And yet in this moment, when we take a picture as 3 of us instead of 4 of us, and all I could think as I'm like smiling and they're snapping these pictures is there's supposed to be 4 of us. There's always been 4 of us. And as soon as the pictures were done, my body like started collapsing. Like I just felt myself going and I just could not handle what I was feeling anymore. It was so cool both sisters grabbed me from either side of me and just like held me up and held me in. And a cousin, I'm glad I didn't know at the time, but actually snapped a couple pictures of it. So I have this picture that sometimes I'll show when I speak to it. Like, and I go back to this all the time. It's happiness isn't your business, connection is. It's like, hey, it's okay. I wasn't happy the day my sister's funeral. I think that's a normal, perfect equation, human reaction. And connection somehow makes those moments still beautiful. Which is
because of what that means.
Yeah.
It means, your collapse meant that you cared.
Yes.
Person beyond words.
And these two people
and these other supporting
that they weren't insecure and thought, I don't know, I don't want to get, you know what I mean? Like, just jump in because this is life and we do life together, and some days are sad, but we're not going to let her do it alone.
There you go.
That's a meaningful life right there.
We cannot do it alone.
No. Just like give up the badge of honor. Don't do it. It's just not.
I don't think we're meant to. We're not built to. We're herd animals. We need other people. And it is really concerning and scary to me when I see young people that connect more with the screen than with others. And I
100%.
Just parents, people, please talk to your kids. Have your siblings talk to each other. Teach them how to communicate. Teach them how to resolve. Teach them how to repair. Teach them how to share.
Yeah.
Or our relationships will suffer.
Yeah. And really, in the end,
our future will suffer.
I was just listening to a podcast on Oprah, actually, yesterday. Was trying to do some light exercises, and they were talking about near-death experiences, and they had, his name's Jeremy Renner, the actor.
Oh, yeah. It's the Arrow guy.
He has a super cool name, too. Hawkeye. But he had a near-death experience. He, died and came back to life a couple years ago. And listening to him talk was so interesting. He was like, I could walk away from doing this today and be totally fine. He just, because of the experience he had, and what he said that reminded me of what you're saying is he said, love is the only thing you take with you when you go. Because he had this really neat experience with being in the afterlife and coming back. And that's what he said. He said, love is, my people, my relationships, I would never have to, I enjoy it in this life. But acting, I'm not taking that with me. I don't. And you hear that a lot with people that have near-death experiences. They come back with a very different view of what matters and what doesn't. And I want to learn those things and do those things without having to go through that myself. I'm like, these people are all saying the same thing. So I think there's eternal truth there, I don't want to have to do that. So I'm I'll just do it. I promise.
Let's listen.
Yes.
Listen and learn. Well, Julie, you're delightful. Thank you so much
You're
for
so
being
kind.
here.
Yes.
Great.
Of course.
Great conversation and energy. And we thank you. And we'll put your book title, I See You, in the show notes.
The website it's iculiving.com.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
You can find it there as well.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's sum up today's episode with Julie DeJesus with 10 takeaway thought pockets. Number 1, being seen can change what we believe we're capable of. People don't need us to fix them. They need someone willing to see where they are and stay with them. Sometimes 1 day, 1 hour, or 1 minute at a time can be enough to help someone begin again. Breaking things down into segments can help us get through the most excruciating pain. Number 2, there's no badge of honor for doing life alone. Needing therapy, needing medication, support, friendship, or help does not diminish us as people. Sometimes accepting help is exactly what gives us enough capacity to start making good choices again. Number 3, don't ever underestimate the power of making someone feel noticed. Julie talked about using their first name, thanking them specifically, telling them and recognizing what they've contributed. The quiet person who seems like they don't need anything may be the exact person who needs to hear, I see you. You matter here. You're not unnoticed to me. Number 4, receiving is part of connection too. We often think generosity means giving, but refusing to receive can actually keep people at a distance. Allowing someone's help says, I trust you enough to need you. Healthy connection has room for both giving and receiving. Healthy relationships must have both. They're reciprocal. Number 5, stop making people read between the lines. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Is it reasonable to get upset when our unmet expectations have not been expressed and communicated? I see this a lot in marriage. You cannot expect something you haven't actually expressed to need. Now, there are some basics like kindness, respect, courtesy, conscientiousness. But sometimes in relationships, we don't verbalize the details of expectations. If you need something, communicate it. Taking people at their word frees us from the exhausting job of trying to interpret everything they might secretly mean. Number 6, hard things can make us harder or softer. Julie's sister gave her one of the most powerful lessons of the conversation while facing cancer. Whatever this is, I can't let it make me harder. I have to let it make me softer. What a brave and powerful thing her sister did. Pain changes us, but we still have some choice in what we allow it to do to us. It can harden us, it can soften us, it can help us grow, and we can love through the pain. It's not easy, but it's possible. Number 7, deep grief is evidence of deep love. Sometimes the pain we feel is exactly proportionate to how much something mattered. The goal isn't always to make grief disappear. Sometimes we need to learn to carry it and recognize that hurting deeply can make perfect sense when we have loved equally as deeply. Missing someone, missing their presence, their voice, their support. Carrying that grief can take a long time to adjust to. Number 8, humanity and high expectations can coexist. Being compassionate doesn't mean having no standards. Great leaders can say, here's what I expect from you, and how are you doing in the same conversation. People are more than their performance, their productivity, or their scores on a rubric. Number 9, you may not have control, but look for where you still have influence, power, or choice. Life can genuinely limit our options. Acknowledging that isn't victimhood, but even in painful circumstances, asking, what choice can I make right now, can connect us with agency and confidence. Number 10, happiness isn't always the assignment, but connection is. At her sister's funeral, Julie physically began to collapse under the weight of grief, and her sister simply grabbed her and held her up. They couldn't change the circumstances, and in that moment, they couldn't make her happy. They couldn't fix the loss, but they could make sure she didn't carry it alone. What a great representation that was. Maybe that's what a meaningful life looks like. Not avoiding pain, but refusing to let each other go through it alone. We don't have to make people happy. We don't have to fix their pain. Sometimes the most healing thing we can do is to make sure to see them, to acknowledge them, and make sure they don't have to carry it by themselves. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Hungry for Healing. Remember, winning the race is not about finishing first, but is about rising each time you fall. So get up, get up, get up, and win the race.
The views and opinions expressed on the Hungry for Healing podcast by guests, hosts, or anyone appearing on the show are solely their own and do not represent the views of the Edify Group, its owners, employees, affiliates, or any other individual or organization. All content provided on this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional mental health treatment, therapy, medical advice, diagnosis, or care. If you are in need of support, please seek the services of a qualified mental health or medical professional. The podcast and its creators make no guarantees regarding the accuracy, completeness, or applicability of any information shared and assume no liability for any actions taken based on the content of this program.